Hey, want to hear a story? So this young woman marries this young man who wants to become a preacher, and they go to seminary down in New Orleans. And shortly after they start seminary, this hurricane blows through. You may remember its name, Katrina, and New Orleans was desperately flooded. This young woman and this young man, these newlyweds, had to leave New Orleans and go stay further inland in Louisiana in a little town called Denham Springs. There they stayed with a pastor and his wife. In fact, they lived with this pastor and his wife for a year. And during that year, the young woman learned how to be a pastor's wife, how to do ministry. It was a wonderful time of learning and mentoring for both her and her husband. After the year was up, they were sad to leave, but they knew that God had other things for them and that He was moving them to a different place. And presently, they settled in a nearby state, but hundreds of miles away. And then, a couple of months ago, torrential rains fell in Denham Springs, and that pastor and his wife, their town was flooded, and their church was flooded. And this young woman, who is now about 10 years older, her husband went with a church mission team to help that church in Denham Springs. In the book of Galatians chapter 6, verse 2, we read this verse that the Apostle Paul wrote to that church in Galatia. He said, "Bear one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ." Christ's law is the law of love, and when we care for one another in times of trouble, we're living out the type of life Christ would have us live. I hope you enjoyed the story. Be blessed.